Break's over. Court has now reconvened. When I awoke the following morning, Susato-san was already gone. Outside the window, the rain came down in sheets. And so began an even longer day than the last, one that I would remember for the rest of my days. 17th April, 9:32 a.m., the Old Bailey's defendant's antechamber. Good morning, Gina. I'm determined to prove your innocence today. I'm sure we can do it. So we're your friend, then? Sorry? You know, in the fancy dress. Susato, however you say it. I don't know. Oh, Miss Susato had to leave early this morning. She was already gone by the time I woke up. You alright with that, are you? Forget about me if you like. Go and see her off. It's fine. It's not as though Miss Susato and I won't meet again one day. Even so. But you, Gina, you only get one chance. This trial today is all we have.
Good morning, you two! Waka hi and Iris! How are you feeling, Ginny? Did you manage to sleep?
No! Iris, what are you doing here?
What do you mean? When a friend is in need, we show our support. Isn't that right, Waggy?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Waggy!
Great way to show your support, kitty. Let him Avo nose around. What can it do?
Oh, that reminds me. I bought a paper on the way here. Now, would you like the good news or the bad news? What do you say, Runo? Genie?
Oh, well, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Nah, always take the good news first. You might not live to hear the bad.
Yes, that question always gives away people's personalities.
Let's not go there.
Alright then, I'll give you the bad news first. A record amount of rain has fallen this morning, and the carriages all over the capital are struggling to move.
Huh? The bad news was a weather report?
So I hope that Susie made her train to Dover and that the train isn't delayed on its way to the port.
Gosh, yes. Alright then, so what's the good news?
Well, the rain is forecast to subside this afternoon. So even if the train is delayed, it should be able to make up the time later. Well, that is good news, isn't it?
I couldn't give a monkey's, really. If only all good news canceled out the bad.
And look, this trial has made the headlines too. Pawnbroker perishes in pick purse plunder. See?
How'd you like that? Well, let them say what they want. See if I care. I can't, because you're covering your face.
Don't worry, Runo will show everyone that this headline is nonsense.
I will?
And then in tomorrow's papers, the headlines will be Discharged diver is dauntless do-gooder. Isn't that right, Runo?
Oh, yes. Let's hope so.
Of course they will. I have absolute faith in you. How was that? I was trying to sound like Susie. Did it work? Did it?
It's like she's still here. Today's paper, this morning's paper, purchased by Iris. Gina's case features prominently. That is one of the miscellaneous lines that Iris just made, so I'm gonna grab that scene later.
Good luck then, Runo. I'll do what I can. Obviously, I don't know the law like Susie does, but still.
My bazooka's ready.
I'll be by your side the whole time, giving you moral support and encouragement.
I'm not sure that big thing is as comforting as you think it is, to be honest, but thank you, Iris. That's very kind of you. Oh yeah, Iris.
Yes, Ginny?
Well, I was wondering is all, about Sholmes. Did they fix him up alright?
Yes, The operation was a great success, but apparently still hasn't come around yet.
I think he's faking it. Eh?
I've asked a friend of mine at Scotland Yard to send a telegram as soon as he wakes up.
I'm sure Gregson will let us know the moment there's news. Oh, right. No Susato-san and no Mr. Sholmes. It's all down to me today, to prove that Gina is innocent of this crime. I got your back, Naruhodo! I got your back! I've gone through this enough times, I'll get you through this too! Miss Gina Lestrade, Consul for the Defense, the trial is about to begin. Please make your way into the courtroom.
It's time then.
Yes, let's go, Gina. Iris. A lady in each arm.
Lead the way, Runo.
Poor Gina. She's trying to put on a brave face, but I can tell she's worried and scared. I have to believe her from the start. I have to believe in her from start to finish. That's the weapon that will secure our victory here. If I learned anything from my great friend, it's that. '17th April, 10 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. This trial shall determine the guilt or innocence of Miss Gina Lestrade. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready.
Lord Van Zeeks,
My lord.
remind me, how many years ago was it that you withdrew from the public prosecution service?
It was some 5 years ago, my lord.
Yes, and then 2 months ago you resurfaced somewhat unexpectedly, and here you are again today. Are there some circumstances of which the court should be aware that have led to this erratic behavior? In what one might describe as your former life 5 years past, you dealt exclusively in matters concerned with the highest echelons of society and government.
Really?
Yet today, you chose to try a simple case of burglary and murder. I confess I find it more than a little befuddling, Counsel.
There are 2 types of person I cannot abide. Firstly, those wealthy scoundrels who hide behind a mask of philanthropy to cheat the public at large.
He means Mr. McGilded, who you defended against the Reaper 2 months ago.
Yes, I just about managed to work that out. Thank you. Magnus McGilded. If I'd known what a monster he was, I never would have defended him. And secondly, even more loathsome, those wily scoundrels who masquerade as allies only to effect total betrayal in the final hour. In other words, the confident tricksters from those tiny islands in the Far East. The Nipponese. So that line before this one has a new meaning. He's clearly talking about his best friend that backstabbed him, now that you know that detail. What? Did he really just say that?
He means you now, Runo.
I actually managed to work that out too. Thank you, Iris. Total betrayal? What are you talking about? That torrid look of hatred in Lord Van Zeek's eyes. Was that directed solely at me? Or was he talking about all Japanese people? There's some bitterness there!
An alarmingly scathing explanation, Lord Van Zeeks. Still, the judiciary welcomes the return of the so-called Reaper of the Bailey. Feared by all London malefactors.
Your lordship is too kind. I don't remember him, making those hints early on, but then again, it has been a while. Maybe he did say it. It was just written in a different way.
Now, jurors, the 6 of you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to hear the evidence placed before you and determine the guilt or innocence of the defendant?
Former lieutenant in the British Army here. Don't you know, chaps like me were born ready. Hi, Mr. Garrett, you're back. We just never get away from case 4 and 2. 2-2, can't we?
Clean crockery, clean cutlery, and a clean conscience. His lordship's motto is very appropriate here, I think.
Everything will be stereoscopic in the future. Absolutely. Absolutely everything. And I'm ready for it.
I don't understand it. I can't have left it in you. It's not possible.
But could I have? Women indispensable in society. Stop. Female-centric future awaits. Stop. This guy! Good day. I am wishing London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please.
Is something wrong, Bruno?
Oh, not exactly. It's just... What an interesting crew! I'm fairly sure I recognize these jurors. Almost all of them, in fact.
Really? Funny coincidences like that do happen from time to time, don't they?
It's called 3DS limitations.
But it is quite strange. The jurors are chosen at random from London's 6 million inhabitants, you know?
So I've been led to believe. But something tells me I'm being duped.
Very well. Now, Lord Van Zeeks, the court calls upon the prosecution to introduce the facts of the case.
As you wish, my lord. Allow me to begin with a word of warning to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. In short, there has never been a more self-evident case of cold-blooded murder. I am stretching right now. The victim, Mr. Pop Windybank, proprietor of a pawn shop on Baker Street, was shot from behind and died instantly. Hey, how fast is the autoplay? I'm curious. The prosecution presents this photographic print of the crime scene. As the court will observe, there is a single bullet wound just below the gentleman's left shoulder. The evidence suggests that the bullet pierced the man's heart, resulting in instant death. Okay, I just wanted to see how fast it is. Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner. His report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. And what's that supposed to tell us? It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Someone. Like the accused, you might say.
Oh.
The prosecution wishes to present the autopsy report and crime scene photograph as evidence, my lord.
Indeed, the court accepts. Hand them to the bailiff, please.
A report prepared by the Scotland Yard coroner that confirms instant death due to a single bullet wound from the back. There are no other signs of trauma. Excuse me. Crime scene photograph. A photograph of the victim found murdered in the storeroom. It shows the single bullet wound in the man's back. I now ask the court to turn its attention to this plan of the establishment where the incident occurred. The proprietor was found in the storeroom where he kept articles pawned to him. A windowless room with a single point of entry, a door to the main shop that was found locked. In this sealed chamber, there were only 2 persons present. The victim, Mr. Windybank, and the accused. It may further interest the court to know that when the accused was discovered at the scene, she had in her hand the gun used to fire the fatal bullet.
Well, that's that then, isn't it? Nothing more to say. Isn't that grubby little girl a pickpocket anyway? She's one of those filthy drabs that live in the slums in the East End. Oh well, it was only a matter of time before she got blood on her hands then.
What are the jurors waiting for? The girl's guilty. We can't jump to conclusions here. We mustn't assume her guilt because of what she has to do to survive. So, I didn't notice this before, but there seems to be a design on the wine bottle now. There appears to be an actual reaper on his wine bottle, and I'm not sure if that was there in the original or not. My learned Nipponese friend, it is you who mustn't jump to conclusions. The prosecution has barely begun presenting its case. Conveniently, this appalling act of murder did not go unobserved. There were witnesses.
Good gracious.
After their testimony, this girl's true nature will be exposed. Pitiful pick-purse or cold-hearted killer. Here's to establishing the truth.
The court will take the floor plan and firearm into evidence. Hand them to the bailiff, please, Lord Van Zeeks.
At once, my lord. Crime scene floor plan. A plan of Windy Bank's pawnbrokery. The scene of the crime. It shows the relative position of the main shop and the rear storeroom. Windy Bank's gun. The gun belonging to the victim, Mr. Windybank, that Gina was holding when she was found unconscious. There are signs of a single discharge. This isn't good. No, it's not! I feel like I need to upgrade to a bottle of booze.
I feel like the mood in here has turned very gloomy all of a sudden, Runo.
I think that's because it has. The cape is off! The cape's off! Let us begin. Bring forth the witnesses to the foul murder of Mr. Pop Windybank on 16th April of this year. These two! And Gregson, the third member of their crew. Witnesses, state your names and occupation for the court.
Name's Nash Skokin. Occupation is, baddie. Professional baddie.
Name's Ringo Skulkin. Occupation, same as him.
Tobias Gregson, Scotland Yard Inspector. That's right. We're what they call...
God, these two.
the Three Skokin Brothers.
Three?
What are you looking at me like that for? Don't lump me in with you lot. Cool, blimey, that's good. Don't you know what we're going through?
Our old bro. Lost contact with him, we have. So we're scouring every shady corner of the capital.
And last night we came across you, a very spit of the bloke. Ain't that right, Ringo?
Oh, yes, Nash, he is. The very spit of him.
So we decided and then what we was gonna do. We was gonna call ya.
Oh my god, they're even worse than Gina. Holy crap, the text.
Big bro Skokie. Come on, leave it down, you two.
Skokie Skokin? And that's before he's run out of chips.
Well then, Inspector Skokie Gregson. Begging your pardon, my lord, but the name's Tobias.
Skokie Gregson! Sorry, this is great.
What I would like to know, Inspector, is what you are doing in the witness stand.
The Skulkin brothers are currently under arrest, my lord, on suspicion of theft.
Huh. Thieves, are they? These three? Oh, my lord, begging your pardon, but please don't lump me in with this lot.
2 nights ago, these two brothers illegally entered an establishment with intent to burgle. And in the course of their nefarious activities, they became embroiled in a far more sinister crime.
By Jove! You mean to say, what an historic coincidence. Coincidence, bae.
Indeed, my lord. While attempting to burglarize the pawnbrokery, they witnessed its proprietor's murder. Rubble, 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 rubble.
Order! Order!
The various trespasses of these brothers is not the subject of today's proceeding, though they will naturally face trial in the very near future.
With your lordship's permission, I like to remain in the stand to keep these gents on the straight and narrow. Of course, course, Inspector. Skeptical as I am about the caliber of these witnesses, I will permit them to take the stand.
Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. You will now testify before the court. Describe the events of the night in question and what exactly you saw.
Happy to. 'Cause a skulkin never skulkin.
God, I love these two.
Get out of it.
Greg's. Okay, there's an Accolade with these two brothers, though. Not sure if I can get it here.
We was walking down Baker Street in the small hours, and the gas door was ajar, see? It was some kind of sign, begging for us to go in, it was. But once we got inside, go blimey, lummy, we heard a gunshot from the back room. We went to see what was what, but the door was locked from the inside. We never done nothing, Governor. We never took nothing. We just left after that, nice and quiet. A terrible coincidence, it would seem. At the precise moment these miscreants entered the property, an even more sinister crime was afoot.
The witness's testimony is consistent with the crime scene in every detail. The door providing access to the storeroom from the main shop was indeed locked from the inside. And within only the victim and the accused were found. Aw, thank you.
I must say, it does appear to be an overwhelmingly simple case. Still, the defense may cross-examine their witness now, of course. Counsel, if you please.
Oh, yeah, for those who are watching my Ace Attorney LP right now with KV and Lewis, they originally voiced the both of them, the Skulkin brothers. Both of them. So I'm wondering if they're going to reprise their role when we ever get to Case 5.
Counsel?
Yes.
What's the matter, Lina?
Sorry, I was just stunned into silence for a minute by the blatant lies being told by that pair in the stand. I know that it's all nonsense, because I saw it with my own eyes. I'll just have to expose their testimony for the pack of lies it is. Yeah, considering he got it. He shot Holmes. They shot Holmes, you piece of shit. Anyway.
Hold it!
The front door of Windy Banks was ajar, you say? What time of night was this?
Must have been about, 1, right, Ringo? Yeah, I'd say so. Right, Skokie? How would I know? The place would have been shut at 1 in the morning, just like every other shop in town. Well, it was pitch black inside, it's true. Ain't that right, Ringo? I'm not so sure, Nash. I seem to remember a little light burning inside. What about you, Skokie? Me old mucker? Leave me alone.
I can't take this testimony seriously. There definitely was a small lamp burning inside. That's what alerted us to the situation in the first place. And when these gentlemen ventured into the open establishment, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, already had the muzzle of her gun trained on the unfortunate victim.
Objection!
Hello? That is pure conjecture. Huh. Perhaps, but it changed nothing. These brothers inadvertently wandered into the middle of a cold-blooded murder, simply because they found the door of the victim's establishment open and ventured inside.
Right, that's what happened.
Hold it!
What are you trying to suggest? That you had to go in?
Well, God moves in mysterious ways, they say. Don't they, Ringo? They do, Nash, they do. Must have been some sort of providence, I reckon.
God's will often present itself as the whim of thieves, does it?
It weren't no whim. I'm dead sure of that. It weren't, Nash, it weren't. Like we said at the time. You don't just find doors open in the middle of the night like that. Nah, there's no two ways about it. There was a sign that our long-lost brother was inside. They're not very good liars, are they? Well, you can't deny it. It led us to a bloke what looks like just like our bruv. I said cut it out.
Those chips are getting a chomping today.
Hold it!
A gunshot, you say? Just the one. Are you sure about that?
Yep, just the one, Governor. I can swear to that. It was nice, it was. Ain't that right, bruv? The firearm used belonged to the victim himself.
Yes, Mr. Winnipeg always used to leave his gun lying around on the counter.
Right, I remember.
When we examined it, we found the revolver was completely out of rounds.
That makes sense. Mr. Winnipeg always used to say he only ever kept a single bullet loaded.
That's true. I remember him saying that as well.
So we can say with considerable certainty that only a single round was discharged from the firearm used as the murder weapon. Yes, my lord, we can.
And I should remind the court that the firearm in question was discovered in the hand of the accused.
Ah.
Wonderful.
Hold it!
Do you mean the door between the main shop and the storeroom? If my learned friend is having difficulty grasping the situation, perhaps a drawing would help. Excluding the shop's entrance from the street, there is only one other door, that of the storeroom.
Of course, there was only a little old lamp burning, not much to see by. And the door was hidden behind a curtain and all.
That's right. When we arrived, the door was mostly obscured by a curtain. Tell me, why exactly did you try to open that door?
Huh?
Any normal petty thief would run at the sound of a gunshot, I should think.
Oh, well, your turn to rabbit, Ringo. Well, Nash, yeah. I suppose you'd have to say we ain't normal, eh?
Broadly speaking, humans respond in one of two ways on hearing a gunshot or scream. The timid flee, gripped by fear, while the courageous investigate to see if they might help. These gentlemen are of the latter inclination. My learned Nipponese friend, it would seem, is of the former. All right, somehow I just proved that I was a coward that night. Thanks, Baroque!
Thank you, counsels.
Man, there's so much venom coming from Baroque today. Hello? Did you just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, sir?
So, I believe we all understand that the door was locked and could not be opened. Proceed, witnesses.
Hold it!
You didn't do or take anything. Is that your story?
Well, it was bedlam soon as, wasn't it? It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out, me Lucy lockets.
So with no time to take your hands out of your pockets, you just left. Nice and quietly, you say.
That's right, Governor. Nothing we ain't more than violent. Peace-loving nibblers we are, not bludgers. We are, Nash, we are. Never even pulled me dukes out of me Lucy lockets.
So you clearly like us to believe. Oh, so you clearly like us to believe. Eh? Come again? As you fled the pawnbrokers that night, did you not run into anyone else? And did you not fire a gun at that person?
Saints alive, they fire a gun, you say? What? Blimey, Governor? You ain't telling us it was you in the doorway?
It was.
Why the bleeding Nora? Didn't you mention that before?
You were armed with a gun, and as you fled the scene, you fired that gun at London's greatest detective, Herlock Sholmes.
They shot the great Mr. Sholmes?
I did hear that, actually. There was a rumor he'd been rushed to the hospital.
The great Sholmes? That's beyond the pale.
On the night in question, this pair were arrested by the police within minutes of the discovery of the crime scene. Their suspicious countenance rapidly gave them away. And when searched, a firearm was indeed found in their possession. Furthermore, the barrel shows signs of a shot having been fired from it. The prosecution invites his lordship to examine the firearm recovered from these brothers. Oh, there's the screenshot of Baroque with a gun. I've seen that picture so many times. Freaking memes.
Yes, indeed. Remnants of powder around the muzzle, as you say, counsel. The court will hold this weapon as evidence.
The Skulkin brothers' gun. A firearm found in possession of the Skulkin brothers upon their arrest. There are signs that a single round was fired. I'm going to pour this wine. Now, my learned Nipponese friend. Yes? Here's to you successfully presenting the evidence. For yes, there are the telltale signs of spent powder on this gun and a single bullet missing from the cylinder. But the prosecution demands evidence that it was fired at the scene of the crime under scrutiny in this trial.
Objection!
Well, I don't need evidence, because I was there.
Objection!
However, the rest of us in the courtroom were not. Dude, just get the bullet from Sherlock! If the defense fails to provide evidence in support of its rash claim, we shall have no choice but to toast your incompetence and move on. Evidence that these two fired that gun before they left Windy Banks that night. I mean, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do here.
The court demands that all claims are affirmed with clear proof.
I'm going to go look in my guide. Actually, you know what I should be doing before I do that? Let me look at stuff. I haven't looked at all the stuff I have. Mason Milverton. What is the suggestion? Oh, hello.
Pawnbroker perishes in pick-purse plunder. How awful. For Ginny, I mean.
But tomorrow's headline will be Discharged Diver is Dauntless Do-Gooder, right?
Yes, something like that. If possible, I'd like to go even bigger.
Bigger? How?
Proud pickpocket protects planet post-trial. Perhaps?
Protects planet?
Oh, I can't wait for tomorrow now. It's gonna be so great.
Okay! What's this in the back?
There's a sensational story lower down on the front page as well. Look. Ministry Mole. Classified secrets have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice.
Oh? For a 10-year-old, Iris certainly has her finger on the pulse of the world news.
It's about secret communications between Great Britain and its allies. Apparently, they're being intercepted by hostile nations.
Communications are being intercepted? But how would someone be doing that? Somebody.
That's the question, isn't it? I've come up with 3 different possible methods so far.
No, that's horrible!
Are you looking for a new career, Runo?
No, of course not. I wonder. Perhaps this is what Lord Strongheart was talking about yesterday.
Yes, it could be. And it could explain why he has Gracie running from pillar to post at the moment.
Morning paper which contains article about government secrets being leaked to foreign agency. Okay, that's gonna play a role later considering it just updated my article there. That's cool. Okay, Windy Bank. Reporting party. Yes, I am indeed the reporting party. The coroner is Miss Dr. Stevens. Okay, well I appreciate them put the name there. Single bullet wound, upper half of the back, no trauma, and instant death from post-mortem bill wound heart. Enter body from back on a gently rising diagonal trajectory. Okay. Okay. I don't see nothing there. This is Mr. Windybank's gun. The cylinder is completely empty.
Mr. Wingybank always used to keep this gun on hand. To hand? He keep this gun to hand on his shop counter.
Yes, but only ever with a single bullet loaded. I understand.
That's right, to keep all the pawn articles that were in his care safe.
But his one bullet was fired that night, and the poor man lost his life. Was he protecting his shop, I wonder? Trying to keep the articles safe? So, there's ammunition still loaded in 5 of this revolver's 6 cylinders.
Yes, which tells us that only a single shot has been fired from it.
Exactly.
The bullet that hit Hurley, in fact, isn't it?
Yes, it happened almost as soon as we walked in through Windybank's door.
I'll make those brothers pay.
Oh! Oh no, Iris is angry.
What evidence shows that these witnesses unloaded a firearm in the pawn shop that night?
Do I present the blood samples? I don't think that's gonna matter, really. I'm going to check. I don't know. Do I present the blood samples? I do. Okay, I was on the right track. The evidence is in this portfolio.
What on earth have you there, Counsel?
During the course of our investigation, we discover a number of bloodstains. Not trusting the police to do the job they're trained to do. How arrogantly Nipponese of you. Sir, you seem to have woken up on the bad side of the bed. Please let me finish. Well, anyway, we analyzed all the blood samples we found and recorded the results in this portfolio.
And you claim to have the evidence the court is demanding therein?
Yes, my lord.
No more dallying, then, Counsel. Present the pertinent evidence at once. What do you have in your portfolio that proves these witnesses unloaded a firearm at the scene?
This one, I'm assuming.
What is that? Explain.
It's a photographic print taken at Windybank's pawnbrokery on the day of the incident.
From the scene of the crime, is it? Is that a bullet hole? And if my eyes do not deceive me, it appears the bullet is still lodged there.
Yes, as your lordship noticed, the bullet pierced Mr. Windybank's calendar. The date shown being the 16th of April, the very day the pawnbroker's death.
The incident occurred at 1 hour after midnight, but this indicates that a separate shot had been fired sometime after the calendar had been set to the 16th.
That's right. And while it isn't irrefutable, the defense believes this is credible evidence that the witness did fire a round from their gun in the pawnbrokers that night.
Nah! Nah! Order! How does the prosecution stand, Lord Van Zeeks?
He's gonna drink the wine, so that's sip number 9 or 10 at this point. If that is the direction my learned friend wishes to take, the prosecution has no objection. That's concerning! What? But you'll forgive me for flinging my hollow chalice aside in disgust at the repugnancy it exposes. Yes, on the night in question, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery illegally. And, like the bold baddies they claim to be, opened fire on the new arrivals before fleeing back onto the street.
Eh? Oh, take it easy there, Governor. You're gonna land us in the soup.
You're already in the soup.
We had a deal. You weren't gonna get into them details. Tell him, Skokie. Tell the bloke straight.
I have nothing to add. So he knew, did he? Van Zeeks knew their testimony would almost certainly expose the extent of their crimes. It would seem now that I owe my learned Nipponese friend a word of gratitude. What do you mean? What I mean is that you have helpfully confirmed an important fact.
To what fact do you refer, Lord Van Zeeks?
As has been established, at the point of their arrest, a single shot had been fired from the brothers' gun. However, if that shot found its target in Mr. Sholmes, then clearly these witnesses cannot be accused of the false shooting of the proprietor and victim. Yeah, you just cleared them from that. In other words, these two men have no material connection to the murder of Mr. Windybank at all. So that's it.
That's it! We didn't have nothing to do with it. We didn't, Ash, we didn't. That's what I reckon.
Your crimes include unlawful entry, intent to steal, perjury, and, let us not forget, attempted murder.
Quite a catalog, eh, fellas? We're in for it now, bruv.
Now then, let us take a moment to consider the aforementioned great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. It would seem the man patronized the pawnbrokers in question somewhat regularly. Where is he going with this? Mr. Sholmes appears to have taken pleasure in tinkering with eccentric machinery.
Eccentric? Says who?
Not me. Don't give me that look. He installed a pair of machines like this one in the victim's shop.
Oh! That's one of Hurley's red-handed recorders.
What is that, Counsel? It has the appearance of a photographic contraption.
As your lordship has surmised, it is indeed a camera attached to a small timing device. Every half an hour, it automatically photographs the interior of the establishment. The idea being that if a thief were to break into the shop, he would be caught red-handed. The prosecution has obtained the photographs taken by the device on the night in question. That's a lot of photos! As the court will observe, copious identical prints are produced in quite desultory fashion.
Rather prodigal, I feel.
In fact, there are 2 such devices in the victim's shop, my lord. If I may refer to the court to the plan of the premises, their respective positions are here and here.
You say these cameras produce a print every half hour. I'm afraid I fail to see how that would help if the anticipated thief conducted his activities in one of the many 30-minute intervals.
One can only pray that the would-be criminal lingers, my lord. On the night in question, the witnesses currently in the stand were not caught on camera.
That's a bit friar tuck, eh, bruv? Lady Luck loves a soaking. Witnesses, at what time did you trespassing begin? Must have been just after 1, right, bruv? Yes, must have been, Nash, must have been. Yeah, just gone 1.
In which case, minutes before these brothers enter the establishment. What scene might we expect to see within the shop? Let us examine the evidence.
Good lord! It's the defendant!
Oh shit!
Miss Gina Lestrade!
Oh shit! Gina! As the court can clearly see, the accused is pictured, gun in hand, facing the victim over the shop counter. No doubt coercing the proprietor to open the door to his storeroom.
Quite! One can only too easily imagine the events that unfolded. The court will take this photographic print as evidence, if you please, counsel.
Photograph of Gina. A photograph taken automatically by the red-handed recorder showing the scene a short time before the murder took place. Ugh.
I don't believe it. Jeannie.
In short, the accused is the only person who could possibly have killed Mr. Windybank. Ah! That is super incriminating evidence. I say, my lord, Well, we're doomed. Time for a summation examination, everybody. Wonder if I might put in a word at this point.
Go ahead, Mr. Foreman.
Took a bally bullet to the knee in the Battle of Maywald. 1880, don't you know? Decorated for it and all that, but forced to retire from service, sadly. Of course, a medal can never outshine the exploits of chaps like us on the battlefield.
Yes, Mr. Foreman, and what exactly is your point?
Carried on the battlefield after retirement, you see? The battle of daily life, if you like. And here I am now, leading this small squadron. 6 men, all good and true. And we'll all go down together, you mark my words. All for one and all for one. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached agreement, have they? Is that what we are to understand? Yeah, I don't blame them for immediately calling for guilty.
Well, Mr. Foreman, is that correct?
In a matter of speaking, yes. That is the Garrett Squadron's position, sir. Wait, no! It's too soon to make a judgment here. Status report for the court, men. On the double. Men and women.
His lordship insists on promptitude at all times, and that goes for making decisions too.
I think we'll find the truth is as clear as day now. I could reach out and touch it. I wouldn't have left it in there. I just wouldn't. But in all honesty, I can't actually remember. Situation clear. Stop. No room for doubt. Stop. Truth now undeniable. Stop. I am very sorry for brothers. They are unlucky.
Very well. I now call upon each member of the jury to state his or her leading in this matter. As I take a drink of water, I could use some booze after this, but oh boy. Announce your considered verdicts to the court.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
I quite like juror 5 and 6. Their voice is pretty nice. And we're doomed.
It does indeed appear that the jury is unanimous in its leaning already.
That photograph. It must be the definitive evidence that Gregson mentioned.
But Ginny didn't shoot him!
No, of course not. Oh boy, it's gonna be a hard time to prove this, though. My lord, the defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination.
Very well, the court grants permission.
So, you refuse to admit defeat again. How unsurprising.
We shall proceed immediately with the summation examination. Mr. Foreman, are all members of the jury ready?
Absolutely, sir. Always ready for action, my chaps.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty.
The jurors' contentions. All the evidence clearly points the finger of guilt at this young pickpocketine.
As a housemaid, I should like to see all filthy eyesores promptly and rigorously eliminated.
I think you'll find that if you look at that photograph in stereo, the truth will just pop out. If I have left it in there, I should think there'll be repercussions by now. But what is this doctor talking about?
Mind made up, stop. Global radio transmission, a verdict to follow, stop.
In motherland, we say never judge by clothes, judge by head. I am convinced brothers are innocent.
The circumstances of the crime and the evidence do indeed implicate the defendant rather comprehensively.
The storeroom, locked from the inside, in which the victim and the accused were discovered alone. And in the accused's hand, the fatal revolver, the firing of which was heard by these witnesses. Not to mention this print. Taken from the chap who's seen action on the battlefield. That young girl's on the verge of pulling a bally trigger. Thanks a lot, Mr. Sholmes.
Oh dear. Apparently, these cameras were supposed to help, not hinder.
I'm afraid I think you have an uphill struggle ahead of you.
But Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windybank. Which means there's more to the situation that we've yet to see.
Agreed.
You have the floor, Counsel. Proceed with the summation examination.
Oh boy. The defense's rebuttal.
Hold it!
You're Mitsur Natsumi's landlord, Mr. Garrett, aren't you? We really must stop meeting like this. Ah, you're that lawyer chap. Well, there's a turn up for the books. Yes, rather a turbulent time we had back then. Some extraordinary events took place at your house, that's for sure. Luckily, Mr. Sholmes and I were able to get to the bottom of it all. I think we did rather a lot for you, didn't we? I mean, obviously. I wouldn't be suggesting that therefore you should change your leaning to not guilty or anything. Naruhodo, you sly fox. Can't be denied, I suppose. The curse of the Garrett house was the talk of the town after that business. Lodgers moved out, and I couldn't get a bally soul to take up the tenancies. Oh. Haven't had the heart to break the news to Joni yet. Bad enough that the old girl's clapped up. Yes, can't be denied. You did a rather a lot. You did do rather a lot. But not for us. That's for dash certain. I suppose not. Of course. There can be no suggestion of that being the reason I'm leaning towards guilty, obviously. Obviously. But honestly, I really wished he'd pay more attention to the trial and less to juror number 2. Does Mr. Garrett have like a maid fetish? Like, hello? Polishing the bench, I see. Again.
A maid's work is never done. Not a blemish must remain.
What exactly do you mean by filthy eyesores?
On my way to the market for his lordship, I have to pass through the East End. The place is full of beggars, pick-pursers, and crossmen, the scum of the earth.
A little harsh, perhaps.
Let me be plain.
Hello, DG Shoes.
If it were up to me, all those back slums would be made spick and span or eradicated. At least we have people like the great detective working to achieve these important goals.
You're referring to Mr. Herlock Sholmes?
That's right. I like to keep abreast of his exploits by reading man's magazines in between my duties. He does wonders, cleaning up London's streets. In my opinion, he should be declared an honorary maid of the capital.
An honorary maid? Mr. Sholmes? A maid?
It's really quite unforgiving. Gutter scum having the audacity to shoot our very greatest detective.
Minor detail. It was the 2 brothers in the stand who shot Mr. Sholmes. Not the defendant.
A minor detail indeed. They're all gutter scum as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it just might be an idea to get our facts straight anyway.
Yes, all right. I shall amend my statement. Those brothers are the scum of the earth. They should swing for shooting the great detective.
Hold it!
What do you mean? Look at the photograph in stereo.
Sorry, what?
Don't you know? If you look at the photographic print normally, it looks as though the pickpocket girl is about to shoot the victim, obviously.
Objection!
But there's no indication that the defendant ever fired the gun. All I'm saying is that if you look at the same print in stereo, it could reveal all sorts of new information. Okay, but we need a second photo. By any chance, are you a fan of stereoscopes? Ooh, how did you know? I don't know, the thing on your head? Let's call it a lucky guess. It never gets old seeing the 2 prints merge into one before your eyes. It's extraordinary. It's captivating. It's the height of modernity. Of course. Oh yes, I think you'll find that the stereoscope is here to stay. giving us new perspective we could only dream of before. It's the greatest invention the world has ever seen. If only it could give me a new perspective on this case, I might agree with you.
Hold it!
What exactly have you been muttering about all this time, sir? You keep talking about having left something somewhere or something like that. Ah, so sorry. As you can probably tell, I'm a surgeon. A surgeon? That totally passed me by. Of course, people conducting surgery in this country aren't considered to be doctors. Oh no. Even though me and my kind are the forefront of medical science, the real brains in the field. So, what is it that you think you've left behind? Oh, well, that's a little embarrassing, to be honest. You see, I was operating on someone yesterday. Standard thing. Went in through the abdomen. But when I finished the procedure, I couldn't find my scalpel anywhere. What? Did he? Surely not. Exactly, surely not. You say to yourself, don't you? Worrying, isn't it? That's what's been troubling me this whole time. Could I really have left my scalpel inside the fellow's belly? No, of course I couldn't. So, there you have it. Like I said, a little embarrassing, really. That's one way of putting it. The other is manslaughter. That's exactly my concern, and seeing as this case appears to be all but sewn up, I need to focus on trying to remember exactly what I've sewn up elsewhere. Now, I'm sure I made sure everything was back as it should be. Well, as sure as you can be without being sure. This guy. I'm sure you need to be more sure. God, this guy is so much.
Hold it!
Sorry, radio transmission? What do you mean? Are you from the Far East? Stop. Yes, from the Empire of Japan. All communication with Far Eastern nations used to take place by mail. Royal Mail steamers take more than a month to complete the journey.
Ah, but now we have the electric telegram, so we can send messages using electric signals. Thousands of miles of cables have been laid along the ocean beds, connecting the entire world.
Thousands of miles of cable? On the ocean bed? It makes my head hurt just thinking about it. You are well informed, young lady. But cables will soon become a thing of the past. Stop. And just when I was starting to catch up. Radio transmission is the future. Stop. Messages carried over airways to 4 corners of globe. Stop. Excitement growing. Stop. Atmosphere electric. Stop. Right. Try not to wear out your fingers. Era of wireless telegraphy. Stop. Driving technological revolution. Stop. And people say inventions like the stereoscope are the height of technology. What utter piffle. I can't understand it. I really can't. They're just silly toys. Uh-oh. We'll get back to that later. Don't spare any feelings, will you? It's not like there's anyone here who likes stereoscopes. So, why exactly do you think that the defendant is guilty? It's quite simple. We haven't been shown a scrap of evidence to suggest that she isn't the culprit. And just as radio waves dash through the skies faster than the eyes can see, so we should dash to the conclusion of this trial and stop pandering in indecisions. Oh, okay.
Hold it!
Please tell me you're not Villain Borsvik, the Russian revolutionary. Revolutionary? Da! I believe there is such a rumor. It's just a rumor? As you see, I have unfortunate appearance. I look like vicious criminal. Your words, not mine. Just want to point that out. People call me revolutionary, murderer, autocrat. And which glove fits? Wait, he's not even a resident of London. What? He's not a resident of Great Britain. How did he get on the jury? Good day. I am wishing London full sight visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. Right. That didn't sound staged at all. You'll forgive me for having my doubts. To be treated like vicious criminal all the time. It is very painful. People do not realize. So I have much sympathy for these brothers. People say they are criminals only because how they look. The Skulkin brothers? Maybe they went inside pawnbroker shop. But they had done nothing wrong. That is all what I want to say. The Skulkin brothers did nothing wrong that night. Alright, well, first of all, that one's not so little misunderstanding I'll need to clear up straight away. That's one. Tell me something, Iris.
What is it, Bruno?
The jurors are chosen at random from the inhabitants of London town, aren't they?
Yes, it's amazing, isn't it?
In that case, how is that there's a Russian tourist sitting among them who looks for all the world like a revolutionary?
I wish I knew.
Because Takumi's being funny. If I can't change the minds of more than half of these 6 jurors, the trial would be over.
But we know that Ginny would never shoot anyone.
Yes, so we need to find contradictions in what these jurors are saying and pit them against each other. I must be ready to go wherever lengths I have to convince them of Gina's innocence. Alright, well, we can probably pit one of them first.
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good lord. Counsel, explain yourself.
Oh my statement? Contradictory?
Contradiction. Juror number 6, you've got the wrong end of the stick. I do not have stick. I have mouse. As juror number 2 said earlier, when the Skulkin brothers fled the scene on the night in question, they fire a shot from their revolver.
Yes, they shot poor Mr. Sholmes in the abdomen, I understand.
Surely, you're not going to tell the court now that you didn't hear. Abdomen. Abdul. ABD. Sir? Sorry. My English is still learning. You are telling the court you didn't hear? Forgive me, I did not hear. Here is word, abdomen, part of person's body containing stomach and other vital organs. If this is what you mean, you should say in plain English, I am Russian, not native speaker. Who thought it was a good idea to let this man be on the jury again? So, you are telling me these brothers who look like criminals were lying. They said before we never done nothing, but truth is they shot detective. This is double negative. Yes, that's exactly right. Don't squeeze the mouse! Lying is wrong, especially when lie is said by person who look like criminal. Coming from you, that seems surprisingly prejudiced. This means, when they said we never took nothing, maybe it was also big fat lie. Is this true? Well, according to the police report, no stolen goods were found, so... Enough! I trust no one now. It's not the mouse's fault though, sir. I must see with own eyes. I must investigate crime scene myself. I'm afraid that won't be
Yes, it is, Bruno. Easily.
Sorry?
With the prints from Hurley's red-handed recorder.
Oh.
If you compare the print that pictures Ginny and the next print from half an hour later, you'll be able to see straight away if anything was taken or not. Chloe, Mr. Prosecutor?
Tut. Calling on the prosecution in the middle of a summation examination of all times. Tut tut. The Baroque says tut tut. My goodness. The print showing the accused threatening the victim after she broke into the shop is this one. Following this, the victim and the accused moved into the storeroom. Meanwhile, the Skulkin brothers entered the shop and summarily heard the fatal gunshot ring out. Sadly, none of these events were captured on film. This is the print produced by the camera half an hour later, after the brothers' flight. Something has been shifted.
So this was taken after Hurley was shot then. And as far as I can tell, nothing has been taken.
The books have been shifted. That does seem to be the case. I can't notice anything that obviously missing in the second print. So, the brothers who look like criminals told only one lie. They shot man, but they stole nothing. It would seem so, yes. Good. No, not good. You were right. I did not understood situation. Now I know brothers have lied. I think it is very important to continue with trial. Okay, thanks, Borshvik. Yeah, the book seems to have shifted.
Yay! Well done, Runo. The balance is shifting.
Well, it's a start, I suppose. No, I don't think they were. But there must be more in what these jurors are saying that I can use to expose the truth. And if I can do that, we just might turn the situation in our favor still.
Thank you, Counsel. Continue with the summation examination. And kindly hand the new photographic print to the bailiff to be filed as evidence.
Post-shooting photograph. A photograph taken automatically by the red-handed recorder showing the scene after the murder had taken place. Another print in the court record. I wonder if we can make use of that. You can actually see in the preview too. I know it might be hard to see on your screen, but if you look at the preview, you can see that the books have been shifted. Which is a good thing, because I'm really bad at the cross-eyeing. In lake of lies are many dead fish. We must find truth. Therefore I say not guilty verdict. Not dead fish. Did you have anything different to say? Nope. Okay, we are going to talk to her because she made someone very angry.
Hold it! Excuse me.
Juror number 3. Sorry to interrupt when you're obviously fuming, but, what? Do you perhaps have something to say about juror number 5's last remark? As if I couldn't guess.
Oh, you bet I do. Say that again. Go on. I dare you. Goodness, are you talking to me?
I think he just might be. Yes.
You think stereoscopes are just toys, do you? Huh?
Absolutely. I mean, really. A machine to view photographs in 3 dimensions. Why on earth would you not just use your eyes to look at the world around you? It's all 3-dimensional. What a great way to appease the man. No, I'm sorry. Stereoscopes are of no practical use at all. You just don't know. Pardon? I think you'll find that viewing a photograph through a stereoscope can unlock all sorts of possibilities. I'm obviously going to have to demonstrate. What sort of possibilities? Well, take a crime scene, for example. If you had a pair of photographs from a crime scene that you could view through a stereoscope, it could reveal hidden clues you'd never even noticed before. What?
Have you got any, Runo? Any prints we can look at with the stereoscope?
Absolutely. Abso-bolly-lutely. How about this print here? It should do the trick, I think.
Take that!
Alright then, juror number 3. Are you saying you could do this with any 2 suitable photographic prints? Of course I can. Very well then. I'd like you to demonstrate. I'd be delighted to. Just give me one more print and I'll amaze you all.
Take that!
Alright, these 2 prints were both taken with the same camera in Windy Banks on the night in question. Ah, yes, I see. Tell me, Mr. Lawyer. Do you know how stereoscopic images work? Do you understand the principle? Well, I think so. I did have a lesson only yesterday. The left and right eye images need to be the same, only with a slight shift in the position of some objects. Then, when your brain merges the 2 images together, inside your head, it notices the shift as if it were death. Yes, exactly.
It's that small shift between certain objects in the 2 pictures that's really important.
So, what happens if you use 2 photographs that are exactly the same then? No, obviously that wouldn't work at all. Not for seeing the scene 3-dimensionally, anyway.
Oh! Oh! Of course, now I see!
Ah, I think the young girl has discovered the secret!
I have!
Iris! Can you uncross your eyes before you tell me?
Have another look at these 2 pictures from Hurley's camera, Bruno. Go on. Can you see that there's a really obvious difference between them?
Of course there is. There are 2 people in the first and no people in the second. Oh, that's not it.
Well, yes, you can see that straight away. But now, try looking at the picture in 3 dimensions.
Alright, I'll give it a go. So, to start with, you have to cross your eyes and then try to make the 2 pictures overlap exactly. Ellipses, because now the game is expecting us to do the same. Let's see if by crossing my eyes I can make the quill pens from each picture overlap the middle. Wait.
Well, did you manage to see it properly, Bruno?
I'm going to say yes, I did, because I'm bad at that, but I already know what it is, so... What's going on with these 2 pictures? Oh, I'm glad we don't have to indicate anything. Good! I'm glad we didn't need to indicate anything. This is unfortunately a, Whew! This is an unfortunate relic of the 3DS that just did not translate well to the later consoles. Some of the things on the counter sort of jump out at you. Everyone has crossed out! I'm so sad the Baroque one goes so fast you can't even, like... Yes, that's it, you see? That's the other amazing power of stereoscopes. Other amazing power? Is someone going to explain this black magic, eh? Why the deuce do some of the things on the counter seem to jump out at you like that, I think you'll find that if you consider the basic principle of the stereoscope, you'll answer your own question. Basic principles of the stereoscope. As I said before, if you try to look at 2 identical pictures using a stereoscope, it won't work at all. It's the slight shift in the position of certain objects that lets you see pictures 3-dimensionally. In other words, even though at first glance it seems the objects on the counter haven't moved at all between the 2 pictures, this shows that actually there must have been a slight shift in their positions.
Yes, there must have been.
Now hold your fire there, sir. Got a reasonable grasp of this whole cross-eyed business now, I'd say. But why the devil does this shift between the 2 prints exist in the first place? Well, what's the answer, fellow? Come on, you're the cross-eyed master. What? Me? I haven't the first idea.
You know, Bruno, it's quite simple.
It is?
Just think it through step by step. The first photograph was taken at 1 o'clock a.m. Then, 30 minutes later, the second photograph was taken.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I think now that we're in HD, I can probably see. Yeah, you can see it much. Oh, okay. Look at the door. You can see it so much more clearly now. So look at the door. This is gonna be a thing that's not even gonna come into play until much later. But you see, there's nothing there, right? And now look at it. You can really see it in HD now. And it's really unfortunate this isn't going to come into play until much later.
But the position of some items on the counter appears to have shifted slightly in the interim. So that means...
That means that something in the half-hour interval, someone must have tampered with the things on the counter. Zookers! Zookers? Someone tampered? New information. Stop. Not mentioned in testimony so far. Stop. Yes. We've had to go around in circles a little here, it seems. But I'm starting to see what I should be aiming at in the summation examination now. Ladies and gentlemen, the question now is clear. Well, I'm gonna have to make it to that point eventually. I got like 4 other cases to get through. We know the items on the countertop were moved, but by whom? Are you suggesting you might know? Of course. I can tell you right now who is responsible for the most imperceptible shift in the items on the counter. Either one of these guys? Oh, Ringo's older. Wow, Ringo's actually older. I'm just gonna present one of these guys, I guess. It was the witnesses currently in the stand, the Skulkin brothers. Wait! This does not agree with what brothers said in testimony before. They said they did not even have time to pull dukes from Lucy lockets. My phrasebook says dukes is meaning hands and Lucy lockets is meaning pockets. But is this another lie? Is this what you're saying? Yes, I'm afraid so. Now hold on a minute, you can't be sure of that. I quite agree. The accused is a common pick purse after all. It's perfectly possible that she went through the things on the desk to see what she might steal. I think that's unlikely. And why exactly? As you can see from this photographic print, the defendant was pointing a gun at the victim. It would seem, as my learned friend indicated, that she was coercing Mr. Winniebank to open the storeroom door. In other words, Miss Lestrange's interest laid within the storeroom, not the main shop, giving her no reason to touch anything on the counter. And I will take a drink of water now. Sorry, every time Naruhodo says learned friend, it throws me off because I keep thinking I'm reading a Baroque line, but I'm not. All of which points to one thing. The Skulkin brothers have omitted key facts in their testimony.
But the accused is a pick purse. Common gutter trash. Why look any further for the wrongdoer here?
Well, the witnesses are also thieves. Because the Skulkin brothers are thieves, madam. No better, in fact worse than the pick purse. I believe that these brothers were looking for something on the victim's counter that night. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you would condemn the defendant on the grounds that she's a pickpocket, would it not at least be right and proper to thoroughly scrutinize testimony given against her by 2 thieves?
Well said. I, for one, would like to hear more from that shady pair.
I love that he uses his head.
Can you all see now? I think you'll find stereoscopes aren't playthings. You've seen their extraordinary potential firsthand.
Wholeheartedly agree. Stop. Must purchase after trial. Stop. Will return home via Regent Street. Stop. Thanks for clipping that.
Well, it would seem this trial has yet to run its course. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have declared their inclinations via the mighty scales of justice. I hereby call this summation examination to conclusion with the balance altered in the defendant's favor. 2 lean to guilty, 4 lean to not guilty. Accordingly, the jury is without consensus, and I order this trial to continue.
Yay! Well done! Oh, by the way,
What?
you should hold on to this, Runo. You never know when it might come in useful.
Twice in one trial would be unusual, surely. But alright. Stereoscope, a fold-up device that allows anybody to enjoy seeing things in 3 dimensions, simply by looking through the eyepieces.
Lord Van Zeeks, you will instruct the witnesses that the court demands additional testimony from them.
I'm sure it won't spoil the bouquet to do so, my lord. Rubble, 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 rubble. I've won myself another chance to probe that pair about their activities that night, at least. And I won't stop probing them until I've proven that Gina is innocent. You got this, Naruhodo. We'll have to do this tomorrow, I think. This must be a to be continued. Yep, there's a to be continued. Alright then, good timing! We have 20 minutes left! Woo! 20 minutes before midnight. That actually worked out really well.